That thumbnail, eh? All right, I'm gonna wait for some people to come on first, and then we'll get into today's video. Hello, hi, yo, hi, hello. Hola, Ryan. Hey, Ryan. Hey. Edward says, hi, Ryan. Sup? Hello. I'm gonna give it like 10 minutes. I'm gonna go into today's video. It's pretty cool. Let's try and do a live stream like this. Hello, hi, Ryan. Hi from Poland. Awesome. How's life? Amazing. Hi. I love you, Ryan. Morning. Evening. ¿Cómo estás? Hello. Aloha Kua from South Africa. Awesome. Aloha Kua. Sounds like the what's it? The Nako bear. Yo, Ryan. Hey, here we go. A lot of people. Really? 65 so far. Should we wait till it gets to 100 and then go? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ways to increase your awareness. I'm going to go into what awareness is. I'm going to go into why you should increase the awareness in the first place. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be speaking for. It's probably going to go for an hour. Usually these live streams go just over an hour. Yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting. And at some point, I want to talk about childhood awakening symptoms. That might be in a live stream or it might be in a YouTube video. Just let me know what you would like with that one. It might be a bit more personal if it's a live stream, because then I get to interact with you guys throughout the chat. Yeah. Got some good videos coming up. Miss you. Hey, Ryan. Ryan-san. I like your bunny statue. This guy, when I'm on San Pedro, gives me a hard time. I'm from New Jersey. Hello. Wow, there's a lot of places here. Denmark, New Jersey. What else we got? Toronto. Cool. India. Do you use fear to trigger astral projection? I used to, because the astral projection state in my past was triggered by fear. So I ended up putting myself in similar circumstances, because I noticed that when I would go into a memory, my body couldn't tell the difference between the memory and this reality. So my physical body would then start to exhibit similar patterns of stress that induced astral projection for me as a kid, as an adult. And then from that, I started to play with my past and my anatomy, and I learned how to astral project without the fear, because it wasn't fun inducing a PTSD panic state just to leave my body. Do you do drugs? Any drugs? I dabble with psychedelics. Yeah, dabble with psychedelics. Lithuania, awesome. California, Louisiana, the Netherlands. Hey. What makes you separate? Interesting. I'd say, well, actually, it kind of goes into awareness. Yeah, I think what makes every person on the planet separate from each other is their amount of awareness, that, or in other words, their attentiveness to life itself, and their amount of self-awareness that they have. Yeah. Ryan, will you speak about Leonard Orr? Maybe in upcoming videos. Arizona, cool. I need a way to contact you personally to clear up any queries. This is a good place to clear up any queries question-wise. If it's really personal, email me. If you need help with it, you can always book a session. I am a spiritual life coach. Took a little break, but now my calendar's wide open for this month. So how do you up our awareness. Okay, let's go into it. Wait, we're gonna wait for one more person to come in. Okay, now I got 100. Okay, so basically, let's talk about what awareness is for a second. First off, first thing that comes to mind is I'm gonna say this in a way that's gonna make a lot of sense. Okay. Breathe in that good ass prana, baby. In the comments. So, first off, if you do nothing right now and you just listen to your environment, you'll be taking in a lot of information. That act is you being aware. You're being aware of your environment. Now, you're the one that's being aware of your environment, right? Which would then stand to reason that you're your awareness. You're the thing that's noticing things. You're the observer. And so your ability to observe will depend on a variety of factors, okay, which is what I wrote down. Because there are a lot of things that pull your attention into many other directions of life. And so as I'm going through this list of things that you can do to increase your awareness or your ability to focus on specific things, a lot of this will start making sense, when it comes to how you might be distracted right now, thus hindering your ability to pay attention to specific things. Another way to look at awareness is kind of like a flashlight. If a flashlight is huge, it's beaming out a lot of light, then you're going to be able to uncover a lot of things in a dark room. And so the more aware you are, or in other words, your ability to pay attention, the more things you're going to uncover, especially if you go inside your mind or inside your emotional body, or if you just look around with that additional heightened awareness, you're going to start to illuminate much more of your experience, just taking in more information. And so this is very important for self-actualization, which is the ability of self-recognition, noticing yourself from many different perspectives. This is also very important for life. You kind of need to have a good visual scope on things. If your awareness is like this and you're looking through life, it's very limited. So let's go through some more things for a sec before I go into these ways to increase your awareness. So then, I'm just thinking, is awareness a doing word? It sounds like a doing word, right? It doesn't really sound like a thing. If you want to use it in the context of a thing, then you are awareness. But on that same note, awareness is also a doing. It's also an observation. It's one of those weird things. The beard is back. Yeah, it kind of just came out of my face. Hi, blessings to you all. Blessings. This is really good timing for me. Awesome. Handsome. Thank you very much. Anyone else? How to manifest properly. Same here, Brian. This tool is more about mindfulness, not awareness. This tool is more mindfulness, not awareness. Mindfulness is another way of looking at it. It's pretty much the same thing, But to be mindful has its own set of, I guess, conditions around that word or connotations. A lot of words trigger a specific way of looking at yourself. Like if I was to tell you to be mindful of yourself, that word mindful, just mindful, will actually cause you to behave a certain way. It's like a conditioned response to that word itself. If I tell you to be aware, it's the same thing. Whatever your relationship is to awareness will then start to take control of the process. So you might start to be more aware of your breath. You might start to be more aware of your emotions, how your body feels. It's based on your relationship with the word, essentially. Okay, let's go into it. So, first off, this is a very simple one. It's timing. Okay. I'm going to tell you something this is like really important. I usually only go through this in my courses or in my sessions, but I'll talk about it here. Okay. So, timing. You're more aware after a certain period within the day. Like you wake up, kind of come out of this unconscious state, and then you should peak after a while based on your diet. I take a while to peak. Usually it depends on how I wake up. If I've had a good night's sleep and I've gradually came out of my sleep state naturally, I'm gonna go out of those states of consciousness, the theta, the beta, and the alpha. I'm gonna gradually come out of my dream state. Good. If you are like in, let's say, theta, and you get woken up, you don't ascend out of sleep properly, so you're still groggy, and that's what can take you. That can take a long time to come back from throughout the day. And so timing. Make sure you sleep well. Make sure you gradually wake up. The way I used to do this in the past is I would have my curtains open about 30 centimeters, and that way the sunlight just comes in and gradually wakes me up. I also like to sleep with all the windows closed, just so that something doesn't wake me up, outside of my house. Okay. So if you get your sleep right, you'll wake up naturally and get used to what your rhythm is, or what your wake cycle is. From the moment you wake up to the peak awareness state, which might be 3 hours after you wake up, it might be an hour. You might have to get dressed and have a shower and brush your teeth first, And so once you figured that out, hey, Cole, just feeling a little generous, bro. Thanks for the donation, buddy. It was good seeing you. You got me on your thumbnail. Yeah, we were together at Soul Quest. He came. Okay, so you figure out your sleep. You wake up. My brain is like just scattered now. Okay, cool. Okay, so when you reach your peak state, like naturally, you wake up naturally and you're good and you're wide awake, you're alert. Then is a good time to do these meditations. If at any point when you're doing these meditations, you feel your awareness slipping, then what you got to do is you've got to do a memory regression. You see, this is the important bit that I normally only teach outside of YouTube. And that is that memories lock your awareness at a specific state. If you lay down and go through your memories for like a good hour, you're going to notice that you can't fall asleep. And so it also changes how your body functions completely. Over time, you'll find that laying down, even when you're not trying to recall your memories, you'll just not fall asleep. It's because you've reconditioned yourself to stay aware and active in these deep states of consciousness whilst fumbling around your memory banks, so to speak. All right. And so that's very important throughout any of these meditations, because I'm going to go into some. Use it as like a safeguard. Especially if you try these meditations and maybe you've gone past your peak state, maybe you had work, and so you had to go to work, and then you got home, and then you tried to increase your awareness, but you're just too tired. Don't drink a coffee. Don't use a stimulant. Lay down into memory stuff first to kind of lock your awareness, and then continue with these additional practices. And so another thing you can do, this one's good, is you got to turn off your senses. Remember earlier I said that your awareness can be split. Essentially, your awareness is your level of focus that you're committing to something. Well, it can be split up by quite a bit. So your senses pulling your awareness. Just then I heard a motorbike outside. This part of my body is kind of cold. I'm finding it hard to breathe a little bit. My body feels too relaxed. My lungs aren't really functioning. And so all these things are pulling my awareness, but there are things that you can do to kind of cancel these things out so that all of your focus can be put on one thing. The thing that I used to like to do is, or meditation that I like to do is, I get earbuds, right? And or plugs. Stick them in a dark room. If it's not dark enough, get yourself some daylight curtains. They will black out the sun from they will black out the light from getting into your room. And you basically just lay down on the floor. Okay. When you lay down on the floor, just breathe. You shouldn't be able to hear anything. If your house is nice and quiet, I mean, if you live in a city, this is going to be tough. But if you live in a house like I do near the country, it's going to be nice and quiet. Like right now, listen. Gosh dang it, pigeon. Like, not much noise going on here. And so you lay down with the earplugs in and you just focus on your heartbeat. Okay. Uh, it's not really a matter of ignoring how you feel or ignoring your problems or what's on your mind or these external things. It's more so a matter of you just feeling whatever's making noise. And it should just be your heart or maybe pulsations in your eardrum, which is good. Then what you do is you slowly breathe. And you notice how the breath kind of feels like it has, or at least the air kind of feels like it has a texture to it. You know, like if I breathe through my nose, I can feel how the air is hitting the nasal cavity and every little bit of my face on the inside. And so that can take my awareness too. And just go from one thing to the next. Go from your heart pulsing in your ears if you have it, your breath, and just notice it. You know, that's a nice way to increase your awareness. If you want to take it a step further, get up and start walking around your room and touch the walls. You'll notice that even noticing you got your earbuds in, when you move your hands up against the wall, the vibration will be carried through your body and actually shake this little tiny bone inside your eardrum, which will then recreate the sound. It's really fun. It makes you feel like a superhuman. It feels like sounds like you've got superhuman senses. And you can rub your hands or your arms. It's really cool to do. Your face. That will definitely bring your attention outward. Mhm. Okay, before I get into the next one, let's read some more. Emoji. Ryan, I don't know why, but I resonate with you. Awesome. I want to know too. Cool. DMT, do DMT. Wow, great. The info. Thank you so much for sharing. You're welcome. We got much more left to do. We're only 18 minutes in. As you say that, I get a loud car speeding by. Right? Smiley face. I'm getting like images of my dream state last night. Kind of distracting. Putting my awareness. What else we got? Should we use DMT? You gotta be ready for DMT. It can be a bit much sometimes for people. Sometimes people come back and they start crying, they break down, or they freeze. Turns their whole world upside down. How much water to drink in a day? Thanks. Be intuitive. If you're thirsty, drink. If you're not, don't drink. A lot of people drink too much. But if you listen to your body, you won't make any mistakes. Do you have red tinted skin in the astral etheric realm? No. But I heard from Gerard that if you got red skin, then you might be from Mars. I saw you on my first projection, but I'm pretty sure you were a thought form. I thought of you and you just rose out of the ground. How? Did I come up like Beetlejuice? Or did I punch through the ground like some type of undead zombie? Do you know Sadhguru? I don't know him, but I've heard of him. Superhuman senses. Awesome, right? Sleep positions to avoid. Don't sleep on your front. It collapses your lungs. And try not to sleep with your back exposed. things can crawl in of the entity kind. How does karma work for weed, hard drugs, psychedelics, dealers, good or bad? It's kind of self-explanatory. This will be the last one I answer until I get into the rest of the awareness methods. So, you got to be good with karma. What you put out is what you get back. Or in other words, the way I like to look at karma is like a video game. If you play a specific character, you're going to be entering into a specific level of life. Therefore, you're going to submit to the challenges of that level. You'll be around specific characters, you have specific challenges come up, and you will become the character needed to deal with that level. If you play San Andreas, you're going to become a thug. You're going to get violent. You play Tekken or Street Fighter, you're going to think you're going to be able to kick the crap out of everyone. Probably going to join the martial arts thing. I did. But, and so, look at karma like that. You enter into a certain level of life, a certain quality of life, including its pain, its hardships. You're not exempt from being a type of person who's going to cause pain in those levels. You're not exempt from receiving pain from those characters that you've put yourself in front of. Okay. And so be smart when you deal with psychedelics and stuff like that. Some countries they're illegal, some countries they're not. I'm not going to tell you what to do specifically. I'll tell you what I do. I go to the places where it's legal. And if I do anything else, I don't talk about it because that's not you don't know. Go on, let's go into some more stuff. Here's a cool one. Do your to-do list. Trust me, these will get really spiritual in a moment. These are just simple ways of doing it. Awareness is quite simple. Doing your to-do list frees up a bunch of your attention. Because right now your attention is probably on doing the washing, eating food, going to the store, checking your mobile phone, checking Facebook, Instagram, all of those messages, phoning a friend, what you're going to do next week, next month, next year, all of your plans. That takes up a lot of memory. Okay. I like to reference the mind to a computer every now and then. Or in other words, RAM. Your computer's ability to process so many things at once, it slows down the whole computer and it messes up its ability to open and process other programs. So if you're trying to focus on something and yet you've got all of these things taking up your RAM, it's going to be very hard for you to be focused on meditating to increase your kundalini or meditating in order to astral project, because your attention is split essentially. And so remember, your awareness is basically your ability to focus on something. We need to broaden that ability. So you do your to-do list to free up some space, which will then allow you to zero in on whatever you're doing. That being said, freeing up doesn't mean to do everything all at once. That's cool, but you might exhaust yourself. One of the techniques that I've put on my YouTube channel is you lay down and you say to that part of your mind, that monkey mind, Hanuman, that is running rampant with your to-do list, you say to it, I'm going to be around tomorrow. I've been around yesterday. I've been around the day before. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be around tomorrow. Come back then and bug me with this to-do list. And what will happen is you'll be like, oh, it makes sense. You were around yesterday and the day before and the years before then. You're definitely going to be around tomorrow. You're not going anywhere anytime soon. I'll bug you then. And you'll feel this part of your mind just shutting down, allowing you to think clearly, increasing your ability to focus on other things. Okay? Cool. How much time we got? 24 minutes in. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 more things to do around increasing your awareness. These get into more of the spiritual variety of to-dos. Let's have a gander at my YouTube channel because one of the things is pronounced a certain way. And I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. My thumbnails. Hilarious. There it is. UGI. Gotcha. Cool. Let's go into one other question before I go into more ways to increase your awareness, making you guys superhuman. By the way, when you increase your awareness, if you've ever done ayahuasca and you've just woken up like and you're wide awake, that's your awareness shooting up through the roof. You just know everything when that happens. How do I wake up? Increase your level of awareness. Matter of fact, something's formulating in my mind about increasing your awareness through lucid dreams. I'll write that down quick. We might talk about it if it's relevant, if it falls into something. Or okay, cool. How much water to drink? I thought about it earlier. Be natural. And be intuitive with how much you drink. If you're thirsty, drink. If you're not thirsty, don't drink. Okay? Are you sitting under the stairs like Harry Potter? I know it, everyone says that. I kind of am, only I'm not inside of a cupboard. Do you sun gaze? Yes, I do. I've been sun gazing since 2012. It's a long time. There's a lot here. Okay, cool. Let's go back into the main topic of this. Sound bowls. Let me go get mine. Sound bowls. Well, there are a couple of reasons as to why sound bowls increase our awareness. One is very godly. Okay. And it also goes into mantra yoga. You know, like this. One sec. It is said that the mantra Om or Aum, A-U-M, or Om, O-M, is used to quieten source consciousness itself. It's meant to resonate throughout reality and all of existence and find the peace of source creation that is in turmoil and calm it down. You are an expression of God. You're an expression of source consciousness. There is a part of you that literally is still in turmoil. It's still source that, for whatever reason, is upset. Usually it's because if you're unlucky, well, dare I say unlucky, not really unlucky, because it comes with its own benefits. When you incarnate as a soul, you kind of fracture from source consciousness. You don't completely split, but your awareness of the fact that you are connected disappears, so it seems like you're split. If you split off from source consciousness while source is going through something, you're going to have had adopted whatever it's going through. A lot of the time, source consciousness doesn't want to be alone. And so the God in you might still be freaking out about being alone. And that will be expressed through many ways when it comes to your behavior. And so we do these mantras to calm down the part of you that is still source consciousness and that is still dealing with whatever it was going through before you incarnated as a soul. Specific mantras work better than others. When it comes to singing bowls, it really does determine It really does depend on your ability to be receptive to frequency and vibration. This is an A tone. It's the one that my soul resonates with the most, and I can feel it the most. It's quite a high tone. Usually there's a F tone that people would get. That's your regular one. I'm not sure what this sounds like now. Oh, the reason is I already told you the reason. Yeah, this comes down the soul. More about that later. The cool thing about this is it also takes your mind off of everything, which then frees up your awareness. Frees up your awareness. I keep saying that it doesn't really make sense in my mind anymore because now I'm associating awareness as a doing thing, so it's not actually a thing. So it frees up your focus. You get what I mean? It allows you to focus more because you're not focusing on anything else, thus making you more aware of subtle things. Like now I'm aware of other things. You know, like my breath is a little it's a little easier to be attentive to my breath right now. I feel like I can do less right now. Like I have less things to do because I've put things to rest internally. It's really nice. So get yourself a soundball. What else we got? Here we got something that I've been talking about recently. I think they call it the Ujjayi breath, which is pretty cool. I'm going to talk about quickly how you do it. If you want more information on it, check out my last video where I'm in the forest. And if you want even more information, I do have a specific video just for that. In the last video where I mention it, I talk about four of my top meditations, and the ones that I just think work best for beginners. And in that is this breath. So it's basically a similar thing. You're focusing on your breathing, which then turns off your worried mind. You know, you breathe in through the nose, you connect the breath, you exhale through the mouth, like this. That's kind of messed up because my adrenaline's pumping. So you do that, but you need to constrict your throat. So you breathe in through your nose, down into the throat, into the navel, whilst constricting your breath. And on your exhale, you let the weight of your rib cage collapse your lungs, including the weight of your shoulders, releasing the air out of your constricted breath, or out of your constricted throat. Sorry. So it's literally like this. Take your time between the inhale and the exhale. That will ensure that you connect the breaths. Don't do this. And sharp movements make for a messed up mind. Nice and smooth. Do about 10 of those every morning and you're good. You're good to start your day. It's really cool. Do it with the sound ball you're going to be really calm and at peace. That will allow you to focus on a lot of things. Or nothing. Why not just have a blank mind, right? That's nice too. It's good just to not think. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 ways already. We got 2 more left. One dealing with animals, and the other one I might have a hard time telling you how to do because you have to be pretty far along in one of my courses to get it. But I'm going to talk about it anyway, in the hopes that someone will see it and be like, I get what you mean. Holy moly, says GG. Thoughts on cold showers? They're brilliant. Cold showers clear out your energy bodies. More specifically, they clear out your emotions out of your emotional body, and then they close your chakras. Your chakras will spin your consciousness in specific areas of your body. Your consciousness spans through all of your energy bodies. The energy bodies are just different ways of assimilating your consciousness. Or in other words, your emotional body is actually another form of thought, which is you. Your mental body is another form of thought, which is you. They just seem so different, that people just class them as separate bodies. You can easily turn your emotional body into a mental body and the mental body into an emotional body. Matter of fact, you can blur the lines pretty well. Same thing with your astral body. When you sleep, you're sleeping inside your astral body, and your dreams are created out of your astral body. This is why if you astral project to pull someone out while they're dreaming, they can just be like this in the astral realm, like a vegetable, because they're inside their mind. They're inside their astral body, which is a form of mind. It's all just different variations of the same thing, which is you. And so the chakras are basically portals which warp all of this energy, all of these different forms of you in certain ways, and direct the energy throughout your anatomy to keep your body alive and healthy, to send information to the cells, which then allow the cells to function in a certain way, or to allow you to feel certain emotions, which also send signals to the physical body. If you're all stressed out, you're scared, your body's going to freak out. You might need to urinate. You might need to run because your adrenal glands are going. Everything is really connected. All of these bodies very connected. They're all you. Different forms of consciousness in different states. All you. And so cold shower will burst through all of these and just and then shut them down a little bit. If you go warm, it's going to open up your chakras, which will in turn open up all of your consciousness. Depending on your ability to spiral, spiraling is basically you going deep into how you're feeling and to bring all that stuff up. I talk about it on Patreon, which has been set up only to market and teach a course, which is on there. Okay, the course is on there. And it's $5, you get entry. And there are 11 videos on there so far. Okay. They're very deep. They talk about opening your emotional body, channeling your consciousness by doing specific rituals in order to clear out a lot of stagnation within your energy bodies. You clear them out, enough, you will live, well, you should live forever. I say should live, and it sounds like that's a lie because I know you will. If you clear them out completely on a regular basis, that doesn't even sound right. You don't have to clear them out completely. Basically, if you take a bath, one bath per day, take a bath per day, eat right, exercise, you could live to be over 500 years old. And that's just you doing one thing, being in a bath. One bath ritual per day. Sounds pretty good, huh? I talk about 4 types of rituals. You get really deep. It's cool. So, yeah. What else we got? Susie put, nah. I'm just 16. Should I learn about chakras? Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Next one deals with studying animals. If you study an animal when it's like frightened, you'll notice you can't You can't sneak up on an animal, especially a wild animal, like a wild fox. The whole body reacts and they look at you. You know, you ever been scared and it's like your insides freak out? That's your internal consciousness taking note of your external environment. A lot of the time, everyone is living out of here, but the consciousness below their eyesight is like in a dream state. The heart is thinking about past relationships. The gut is thinking about food. Genitals is thinking about other things. And they got grief that's just encompassing their lungs and their chest. Their internal consciousness is distracted by so many things. This is because people don't process out their thoughts because they don't, well, first off, they don't know how to. And secondly, we're not taught to sit down and think. We're taught to run away from how we feel through distractions and food and other things, other vices. And so if I make you jump, if you're really distracted, you'll probably look at me, but your insides won't really react. An animal doesn't have that problem. This is why an animal is so perceptive of its environment. And so the way you change this is by going into what I like to call the periscope teaching. Now, this is something that I talk about in my shadow integration course. So if you're in that course already, this will make a lot of sense to you. If you're not, I'm going to try and make it make sense and give you something that you can do so that you can actually practice without buying the course. Okay. So, cool. Periscope. What a periscope is whenever you see a submarine, you'll see people looking through like bifocals. Is that what you call them? And they're deep in the belly of the beast, and yet they can see above the submarine. It's because there's a slanted kind of mirror that slants and reflects the reflection of the other mirror above, and kind of shows the image that's being shown above water. Make sense? Mm, I think it's made no sense. I'm not going to draw it. And so you basically look into a tube and you're able to see up a tube through a mirror and see out above water. And so that's a periscope. Okay. The reason why I call this periscope teachings is because it has you going into your body and experiencing the world through your eyes. Imagine listening to music, and rather than thinking or relating to the music within your mind, you're thinking and you're relating to the music within your throat. It's a very different sensation. Imagine looking at the clouds from your throat as opposed to your mind. You interpret it very differently. Things just seem to make more sense when you're out of the head. And so there are different spots within the body where you can shift your awareness to and observe your environment with. All of this will unlock the subconscious mind. I call it the abysmal mind because it's so deep. Subconscious, I tend to look, or subconscious, I tend to use for the mind, like up here, behind the scenes, behind your ordinary awareness, which you are right here. And so there is a technique that you can do, which will have you experience your mind internally, move and experience the world around you in a very strange way. Okay? I'm feeling pulled to read the messages real quick. I am not the body, I am not the mind. You'll be surprised. Let's see them aliens, says Samuel. Abysmal, abyssal. I think it's abysmal. Oh wait, abysmal equals abyss, not abyssal. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks. Ryan, why are you an alien and how, if you don't mind? I think I've been an alien, what people would call an alien in like past lives and stuff, but I wouldn't consider myself an alien. Maybe to another species. So, okay, this is what you do. Okay, so basically, I want you just to look at something and then look over there. But don't look to your right, but don't move your head. Okay, so it's just and then back, and then back, and then back. Then close your eyes and do it, and then back. Okay, do that a couple of times. Okay, now don't move your eyes at all, and just put your awareness over there. Kind of like you're still doing this. It should feel like you have a slight rotationary effect inside your head. If not, then do it again, but really slow, like really slowly move your eyes over there, and then come back. Really slowly do it, then come back. And then do that again without actually moving your eyes. So you're just moving your awareness over there slowly. Yeah. That's a little difficult to do, but if you're good with your mind, you should be able to feel it. Another way of doing it, which is in the course, is you take your hand, close your eyes, and you click from one ear to another. You just pay attention to where your hand is. Okay? And then you stop clicking and you just use your finger. And you just follow it with your awareness. And it kind of feels like I'm doing this, inside my head. And it feels really weird when you get that down. Okay? So this is loosening you up out of your body. Now you want to increase it. Okay? This is a little harder to do if you don't have a lot of the knowledge, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. I did this with a client and she was able to do it, which surprised me. So let me know in the comments if you can do this in the live chat. Basically, you have your finger going like this, side to side. Bring it down a little bit over here. Okay? Near your throat, and just keep going like this, following your finger. And then bring it up across your face. Slowly follow it, and then go like this. Okay? Side to side. You're following it with your awareness. Your head's not moving, your eyes aren't moving. And then go down the face. Do it again. As you come down, it should feel like you're actually coming down into the throat a little bit, that area, and you're also rotating. This is you loosening up your consciousness in your throat. When your awareness goes down like that, it actually stops it from being in a dream state to being all huddled up and thinking about certain things. Maybe you don't speak your truth enough, so you feel like your throat is locked up. It will stop it from thinking about or from dwelling on those moments, and it will start doing this and paying attention to your finger. It's really cool. You can go up like this. That works too. Or you can do a zigzag motion down your entire body, which is really cool. And then back up again. Okay. This is really fun. Funny story how I discovered this. I was at the hospital. I was working at the hospital. And I wanted to fit spirituality into my working schedule. So I would sit outside on the bench and I would start doing mantras. And I noticed that my ego would get involved. Now, what my ego would do is it would act spiritual in order to basically please itself. You see people do this every now and then. Don't call them out on it. It's not nice. But sometimes when people go to meditate, they'll be like, okay, time to meditate. And it will act spiritual. And that would make them happy. It's their ego doing it to please itself, to feel like it's progressing. You don't actually need to do that to progress. It's actually a distraction. It stops you from being you, and it makes you less attentive to what's going on inside if you're constantly pretending to be a certain way. And so I noticed that I was doing that whenever I tried the Om or the Ong, right? And so then I used my memory deletion meditation to just kind of forget who I was, kind of forget what spirituality meant to me, forget how I've learned to interpret spirituality through YouTube, through the postures, and through what that kind of looks like being a spiritual person. And I just erased it out of my mind momentarily. So I guess I didn't completely erase it. I just tucked it away, out of sight. I had no awareness of it at all. You could ask me questions, I wouldn't know. Brain dead, pretty much. And then I started going through the alphabet. I did A, just going, I'll do different tones. I go, And I would just notice as to how when I did different tones, my awareness would drop into different parts of the body. Matter of fact, this is another way to increase your awareness. So my awareness would go straight to where the vibration is. I'm like, oh, I've never had my mind down here before. What's going on? When I increased the vibration, my awareness expanded into my gut and I felt other areas of my body that I didn't feel before. So I did the A tone and I changed it to different decibels. Then I would go into B and then C and then D. I work my way throughout the alphabet. Then I would do mantras. But I was still a little hesitant with the mantras because I didn't want, my ego just to shift forms. Doesn't help at all. And so I started learning Japanese. And Japanese, it's a very nasally, sometimes the words can be nasally. It's a different type of vocalization. And so I did Japanese, and I also noticed that my character wanted to shift into a Japanese character. I put a stop to that, and I just started speaking Japanese for a little while. I noticed that it completely moved my awareness to different parts of my body again, and it opened me up internally. I also sun gazed. Sun gazing helped a lot. This increased my awareness because when I looked at the sun, I felt it coming in and literally like warm plasma just bleeding throughout my system. It was really nice. It made me aware of some things. The sun has just come out behind me. I'll check this out. It's now behind the house through there. And looking at it, it's making me aware of my entire rib cage because I can feel the light coming through my nervous system, like traveling throughout my nervous system and kind of waking me up from the inside. It's really nice. And so I would do these things, right? And once I had a grip on myself, I'm going to call it myself instead of my ego now, because really an ego is it's just you. It's just me. It's just the parts of us that we either don't want to associate with or we tend to slip into. We slip into these habitual states where our character completely changes because we've been triggered in a particular way. I've made a video on what an ego is, an ego illusion. It's very good. If you're the type of person to associate these parts of yourself as an ego, try this for a week. Uh, Instead of saying my ego, say I. Don't use the word ego. Okay? Don't use it at all whenever you mention it. And so that will change your relationship with yourself quite a bit. Okay. What else? What's going somewhere with this? I got to the point where I can do the without having myself shift into a different personality to please myself. And then I started getting messages from the universe once I got out of the way. I started understanding what these things actually meant, the mantras, the specific tones, how it relates to your consciousness, how when you go from a low tone, like to a high tone, your awareness kind of bends and changes and your personality shifts a little bit. If you go from a low tone to a really high tone, you'll literally feel the rising of your consciousness and then the descent of your consciousness, the rising of your feelings to a good high vibrational state to a low vibrational state. Just make a low tone, like I'm a little out of practice, but that did enough. Okay, so play around if you're alone in the house. Otherwise, people will think, like, what the hell are you doing? All right, so these are some ways to increase your awareness. Those last ones were big. I didn't think I'd be talking about those today. I didn't write them down. I'm going to keep going through your Afro Samurai. I'm going to keep going through your questions. And if anything else comes up, because we're still under the hour, if anything else comes up about increasing your awareness, I'll let you know. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a little meditation to turn my mouth on. So I haven't used it in a while. You know what's really cool? If you set one intention, everything inside will shift to facilitate the intention that you wish to carry out. Your personality, how you speak, how you breathe, how you carry yourself will change. I just did the intention to speak clearly. Now I feel like I'm having less trouble speaking. I should have done that in the beginning. I hope you guys hear me fine. Hey guys, let's read. Nice topic. Thanks. I wanted to make this live stream a little bit more focused, you know? I know you're joking, Afro. I can feel your vibration. Vibration. My thoughts on tulpas? I'll tell you something about tulpas, actually. So, a tulpa is your subconscious mind manifest in the etheric realm. You can literally create a thought form out of your worst nightmares and have that express itself in the etheric plane, which deals heavily with your subconscious projections. This is why I say to people to do shadow work and psychological work before the astral project. Otherwise, you might end up seeing your demons and you'll freak out. When I was young, I used to astral project. I used to see Japanese women with their hair flowing everywhere, and they would laugh and go into the wall, and I would see their hair in the corner of the wall, moving around the wall, up on the ceiling. It got weird. And then one time, I'm thinking, oh, I wish this thing would go away and it would come a little stronger. And I would say to myself, oh, if only, like, what if it had hooves? Then all of a sudden it would materialize hooves and I would hear it. I was like, oh, this thing sounds heavy. And it would sound heavy. And oh, what if it stands on my bed and I feel my bed cover sink in? And it would. And then I said, oh, what if it covered my face trying to suffocate me? I couldn't imagine how I would feel under those, in that circumstance. And that's what happened. I could feel its little hand and it's doing this, trying to suffocate me. And then it laughs and I laugh at the exact same time because I get what's happening. It's me. And then with that laughter, it disappears and I feel like I just integrate a part of myself. And so the reason why I say this is because witches, people who are into witchcraft, will create tulpas out of their imagination to send to people to pick on them. If you have ascended to a state, like a god level state, where you feel like you are everything, you will feel like that tulpa is a part of you, because in a sense it is, and you can just shred it. It's the same with entities, spirits. If you're in a god mode, if you're in I am everything mode, and I can feel everything, and I also have your memories because your memories are my memories, and I don't know where I begin and you end, then you can sit across from a soul and you can look through them because they are you. You can see their problems, you can counsel them, and that will lighten their load. They'll feel better. They'll go through a really fast enlightenment stage, and they'll look better too. And then they'll ascend into another dimension. Um, I've done that many a time. It feels like sometimes I don't have a choice. It's actually slowed way down recently, which is nice. I used to wake up and just have people sitting on my bed. So another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to tulpas is I've been making kurpes. If you've seen these before, I talk about it on the Patreon. This is a dragon that was sculpted out of my subconscious mind, meaning in the same way that you can just doodle and you come up with a very nice pattern. I just sculpt. I set the intention to do a dragon and I just sculpt and it just turns into this. There's no horns, there's no whiskers. It's right out of my subconscious mind. And I only realized the other day why it's like this. How many of you know what this is? Write it down in the comments real quick. I got another donation. Let's see what's going on. Oh, it's a question. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Okay, so what this is it's a self-applicator which blows high vibrational material up your nose. Or in other words, the earth element has a certain vibration to it. There are specific herbs around the world that have a specific vibration to them. When they're ingested, it will shake out anything that's of a low vibration within you and bring it up to the surface to be purged out. Ayahuasca is one of them. Okay. Rapeh they have you do during ayahuasca ceremonies. It's not a drug, although it feels like it sometimes. And you can buy them. You can buy it. Okay, you can buy the rapé. I like to get shower dawa, kuntanawa, and they got some mint stuff too. And what you basically do is there's a whole process to it where you put a pea-sized amount on your hand. There are videos online about how to do this, I think. And you scoop it up towards your heart. You place it on your head and you set an intention. Place it to your heart, you set an intention. You go, shoo, and that brings the energy up and through your head. And you put this in your mouth, you do this, and you blow. And it will blow it all up into your nasal cavity. And you're going to feel that vibration hit you. You're going to feel it hard. I like to do specific meditations first to loosen myself up to the best of my ability, emotionally, mentally. So I'm not in resistance to anything, including myself and my own thoughts. And then I take this, and it just takes me even further. It's really nice. There are rituals around practicing this form of meditation. And the reason why I discussed this to you all today, I feel like I'm at a presentation, is because this came out of my subconscious mind. And I noticed that growing up as a kid, parts of me associated with certain animals that I saw on TV that were acting a certain way. So if I was grumpy or in a mood and I saw Lion King, I saw him growling, a part of me would be like, I'm a tiger, right? And I never really grew out of that. It just kind of got suppressed somewhere. And it's the same with dragons, the same with foxes and birds and stuff like that. And this is why when you take psychedelics, you can shift into other animals. Sometimes animals jump into you and you shift, but for the most part, at least in my case, it was all subconscious. And I was like 80% subconscious, just being expressed. And when I did Rapeh, after creating this, I got the realization that I've been acting like a dragon in certain parts of my psyche. And rather than acting that way, I just need to get real with myself and deal with how I'm feeling. And the Rapeh helped me elevate a lot of the thoughts that I had during the time that I kind of assimilated myself into a personality that resembled a dragon or Falcor out of Neverending Story. And so, a little story about that. These are really powerful. I advise everyone make their own Rapeh if they're going to self-administer, just to have that deep insight. You can create patterns and stuff to open up portals within your subconscious mind. So when you take it, it's going to go straight in, and then you're going to go straight down and through somewhere. It's very weird. Let's keep talking about zero. So any time taking. I need to breathe. I'm like out of breath. Okay. Anytime talking psychedelics, I've seen the same face. Oh, every time taking psychedelics, I've seen the same face. It was kind of like a female with Day of the Dead face painted, but more colorful. Any thoughts on this? Is it a human? Sometimes you get entities that look like geishas or have like painting on their face quite a bit. And these beings, usually they're of the deity variety. So they want something, or they're willing to give you something for something in return. Yeah, I tend to stay away from them. Not unless they talk to me, but even then, I'm very, you know, stay away. So we got a cool one here. Semen retention thoughts. Should ejaculation only be used for reproduction? First off, semen retention. I wanted to talk about this in a separate video, but I'll talk about it now, and I'll probably talk about it again. If you're going to do like nofap, are you guys out there? It doesn't really, you're not going to get most of the benefits if you're still thinking about sex. Because if you're thinking about sex or anything like that, your body's going to think there's someone in front of me that I need to mate with. And so it doesn't actually shut down the many functions of the body that create semen and stuff like that. If you can completely remove your mind from it, don't suppress, but deal with all the sexual thoughts to the point where you're not thinking about anything. What I used to do is I used to have a reality check. So I'd be like, okay, I'm aroused. Why am I aroused? Probably favoring my imagination of what's actually happening. I'll look around. There's no one in front of me right now. I'll just look around. And I'll notice that everything was shut down. Did that for some months, and now I would say I'm fixed. Like, unless something's happening, my body doesn't go there. My body doesn't go there. And so Again, not suppressing, it's just a reality check. A lot of people favor their imagination over reality. Same with fear, you know. And they'll have a physical response to something that they're scared of, that they're experiencing internally. It's not actually happening around them. Same thing with watching the news. It can be scary. It's not happening around you right now, huh? And so you turn that off, and then you'll notice that after some weeks, your mind will start to change. Your level of awareness, this is another awareness thing, will completely shift. All of your focus will shift into one thing because you're not being distracted internally. This will allow your thoughts to become more abstract in the area or the profession that you're in, or in whatever meditation you're doing. Very abstract. And the reason why this happens is because all of the energy that would have been spent on creating these reproductive juices or having you seek out certain opportunities is being recycled and repurposed for another use. This does not feel like you're getting sexual energy, you're feeling it, then you're moving it up. That's not what's happening. What this is doing is it's literally having your body transmute energy because it's not being used for anything. The body doesn't see it. Your body doesn't see your current circumstance as an opportunity to mate or anything like that, or to get intimate. And so naturally it transmutes. Naturally the energy frees up and gets used and gets put towards something else. Okay. That's not to say that there aren't other energy uses dealing with getting aroused and moving that arousal somewhere. But for the most part, when I see people talk about nofap and semen retention and transmutation of sexual energy, I feel like they're missing a lot. I do, because it shouldn't be a process where you're suffering because you want to do something, but you're stopping yourself. It should be more fluid. No pun intended. What else we got? Should I put like an age thing on this? Obelisk crystals? Obelisk. Obelisk is those ones with the thing, right? Yeah, they channel energy up and out. Wow, I talk about a lot of things. I never felt hat distraction, thankfully. I never felt that distraction. Okay, cool. My aunt taught me how to be aware spiritually, physically, and emotionally. That's pretty cool. Are you adding to your library of knowledge? It's best not to settle with what you know. The moment you do that, it slows everything down. And believe me, you're capable of doing everything that you learn and more. Your processing speed is incredible. Species. What else we got? How to align your chakras? Have a bath. Have a bath. Or have a shower and go from hot to cold. Back and forth. Yes, Ryan. Rapeh. Awesome. Can you induce sleep paralysis? You should be able to. Usually, the biggest block when it comes to sleep paralysis is everyone's. There is this state of mind that needs to be crushed out of people, which is the whining, lazy mentality when it comes to meditation. Everyone has it at some point in their life where they've been meditating for like 20 minutes and then they complain about meditating or they're not getting any results. And so they kind of throw a fit and just stop. That mindset needs to be taken out.
Sorry.
What else we got? I want to meet you and just talk. One day. I've been meeting a lot of subscribers recently. Cool. Mm-mm, mm-mm. How many of you are following me on Facebook? Yes, it is. Am I going to tattoo my face? No. I was thinking about tattooing my head because no one would see it unless I went bald. Mm. Wait, I was going to say something. I forgot. That was it. Facebook. So I'm quite active on Facebook when it comes to the things that I'm doing. Way more active than YouTube. If you follow me on my Facebook profile, you'll you'll be able to stay up to date if you want. There are some things coming up which only a small handful of people get to see nowadays. I think I need to mention my Facebook more often. And on Instagram, every now and then, you'll see me doing something. Kind of like the live stream I did on YouTube the other day at Soul Quest. Bunch of stuff like that on Instagram. We got another donation. Thanks. Zero Sum. I feel like I've spoken to you before. Like I know who you are. Yeah, it kind of looks like that, and it does feel like that kind of I'll do something for you if you do something for me. Isn't cruel or anything, just more like live a certain way and I'll take care of you. I don't know how to respond to that. Oni. Ryan. When I meditate, energy builds in my head and I'm able to move it around my body. Should I keep doing it or ignore it? Keep doing it. Right, I've been seeing 111, 111, 222 a lot. That's awesome, Jerry. 111 tends to mean that what you're putting out into the universe is it's being sent out. It's actually going out. 1111 means what you're putting out is coming back at the same pace. It's like same speed. So you're getting a perfect reflection. Usually in that moment, whatever you're thinking about is happening right in front of you or is somewhere near you. Okay, somewhere near you. 222. You gotta kind of watch out. Someone's in your life right now, which is against you and another person. And if they have the opportunity, they will do something. But they need quite a big opening. Have I heard about BitU? I haven't heard about that before. How to crush fears. Fear is false evidence appearing real. What I like to do is find out as much as I can what's actually happening. If there are people around me, ask them, are you thinking this? Is this happening right now? Have a constant back and forth with your reality so that you know what's happening. That helps. It's like a reality check. Another thing I like to do is I like to bring something up which is more energetically pleasing. For example, I wanted to slide down a waterfall in Costa Rica, and energetically, I was like freaking out a little bit. I was like, what if I cut myself, hit my head, drowned? What if I hit the bottom? I was raised watching documentary channels, and I've been told that with a waterfall, you don't shoot for the bottom of the waterfall because it's creating air pockets, so you'll fall and hit the ground and break your legs or a stone. This one guy said it's fine. But then I thought to myself, what would my higher self do? You know, my higher self would slide down that waterfall. So, logically speaking, if I slide down that waterfall, that means that I am embodying my higher self. I am my higher self. If I don't, then I could expect to be my higher self within about 2 to 3 years from that point. So it's either I do it and be my higher self then and there, or I fall back on how I was kind of making sense out of the situation anyway, which was I wasn't ready. It's dangerous. My higher self will figure out or muster up the courage to do that one thing in 3 years. That's when I can expect to be my higher self. Crushed it in a moment, you know? Genki desu ka? Genki desu. I'm pretty good, thank you. Thoughts on Reiki? It's brilliant. If you're going to do Reiki, study water. Hey, 1111. Wes! Sending positive energy. You're awesome, Wes. Wes also came to the retreat in Orlando taking ayahuasca. Man, you were killing it with ayahuasca. You had no issues with it. Sometimes there are people who take ayahuasca and I can see that they're struggling. You know, with me, I struggle a little bit in the beginning and then I'm all over the place and I'm good. Like I'm loud. I'm good. Wes, he took it. For what I saw, he was fine the entire time. Even when the medicine wore off, he still seemed like he was on medicine. How do you follow your intuition? And here's a cool thing: intuition is in the heart. For a large part of my life, I thought it was in the gut. The gut is the instinctual mind, pretty much. The instinctual mind fears a lot of things. And so if you're using your gut as intuition, you're like, I probably shouldn't do that because my intuition is telling me not to. Your intuition is basically running off of your old script. It's running off of your life. Your past, you experience certain things that might have frightened you. You approach certain people that were kind of nasty. And so instinctually, your gut is going to stop you from reaching out to people. Doesn't mean your gut is right. Okay, a lot of people think that your gut is like the spiritual intuition that knows everything. It's not. It's instinctual. It's running off of your life, and it's using your past to dictate your present moment and your future most of the time. Your heart, however, knows a lot more than you might think. You got to find the center, which is actually off. It's more here. It's not so much here. It's more here. And it's deep. You'll feel it because it'll feel like a fountain, like it's constantly pumping out the energy, the excitement for life. Just lay there and feel into that part of your chest and try and find that part that's still into nature, that's still into doing stuff, that's still into music and still wants to express itself. You'll find it. You'll find it. And then just feel into it. And then you'll connect to the intuition. Your water's boiling.
Yeah, I swear to you, I heard you in my head. I was like, "Ran, my water's boiling," and all of a sudden you're like, "Your water's boiling." Coming. What happened? When you
How do you surrender? Awesome. Use body mudras. There are some positions that you can get into physically which make you more willing to feeling certain things or to receiving certain people. Having your hands open while you're speaking to someone up in your lap is really good. What I like to do if I'm in front of a stranger, I'll take my card and my phone and I'll put it in my hand and I'll just put it like on my knee, like in front of them, somewhere close, maybe a little bit like this. So it's like I trust them with my things. It stops me from being like stay away from my things, and it's kind of like I get used to being in that type of surrendering mode. Another really good one is having your hands on the wall and your head against the wall. Oh my god. A lot of the time, if you've been beaten down or pushed down to the ground, you're going to be in resistance to that type of mudra. Sitting through it will help quite a bit.
to drink water, juice.
Some water would be nice. How do you stop being scared of astral projection? Check out my video, Dangers of Astral Projection from A to question mark. That should help.
I'm gonna go get you more water.
Yeah. Thanks for the love, Justin. How to heal tinnitus, Ryan. I have annoying ringing in the ears for years now. Thanks. I've never had tinnitus, so I can't tell you exactly how to heal it, unfortunately. Yeah. Isn't it a jaw thing? Isn't it when the jaw kind of pushes on the thing? right? When people have lopsided jaw, they either go into surgery or they do chiropractic stuff to change how the jaw behaves. If you look into that direction of the internet, maybe you'll find something pretty cool. Awesome. Mm-mm-mm. Any recommendations on breath techniques other than the Ujjayi breathing techniques? Breath of fire is good. There are some that I just do. I'm not sure what they're called. They're probably somewhere on the internet, some version of them. I call it frog breathing. I just did it one day. Lady fell over. I blacked out. So what you do is you kneel down on the floor and you sit like a frog. Then you breathe to the back of your lungs. And then you gradually, as you do it, you'll notice your stomach will push out, your abdomen will push out, your diaphragm will push out, and then the top of your chest will rise, increasing. Distracted. Will rise. Your chest will rise. No. Okay. You sit like a frog. You breathe to the back of your spine. Your belly will pop out. Your diaphragm will open up. Top of your chest will open up. Your shoulders will raise. And then you breathe out through your mouth, letting the weight of your body take the air out of your lungs. Do that 5 to 6 times, and then you stand up straight quickly. You stare at one spot in the sky. Do this with someone around you, just in case you fall over. You will feel a prana rush through most of your body, especially your head and your fingers. It's very clearing and it's very powerful. I wouldn't suggest just doing it by yourself unless there's things around you to fall on. I've gotten used to knowing when to stop. If you push it too much, you will black out. That's a very, very good breath work exercise that you can do every now and then. Lindsay says, Ryan, you're amazing. Can I make my own psychedelics at home? Or have a psychedelic experience without illegal drugs? You can. You can have a ego death without illegal drugs, just through meditation. Astral projection is a very good way of experiencing a type of psychedelic experience. Basically, any altered state, if you know how to do it, is going to feel like a psychedelic. But the one that's going to feel the most like psychedelics, well, there are two. One is we're doing this at Soul Quest. You close your eyes and you push your thumbs into the sockets, and you should start seeing patterns and colors. If you stare at those and you fall into a deep state whilst you're laying down, you go with it, you'll end up journeying like for an ayahuasca or DMT. It's just much slower. Keep with it and it will work. Or you can just close your eyes, notice the static, and try and find the pattern in static, which will then turn into geometry, and then you'll start journeying again. You can also make your own psychedelics at home. I think anyone can. It's just not legal. Not unless you live in a place where you can smoke your own marijuana, cannabis, or take edibles and stuff. I was going to say something and it completely... Something really cool. That was it. The painting. Okay, let's auction the painting. How many of you... I'm going to go upstairs in a second and bring my painting downstairs. I'm selling it, and it's at auction right now. I had it at $350. I put it really low. Someone wants it for $500. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to show you it. If any of you want it, let me know. It's going to go by Monday. I think I'm going to sell it Monday. Okay. Does weed help with astral projection? It doesn't, but it does help with journeying in a certain way. Just watch my video on cannabis. I talk about how often you should or should not smoke it, and why and how to smoke it. Okay. Thanks for the donation as well, Jose. The acting tired method worked. I'm trying again. Awesome, Richard. Okay, back in a sec. Ryan, can I see the painting beings with weed on the YouTube picture, like on the feed you posted? Yeah, you should be able to see the beings. Yeah, there are beings inside my painting. And if you're high or on something, you will definitely see them. and they're always the same beings. If you're with a friend and you're high, or you're on LSD and you look at this painting, you're both going to experience communicating with the same being at the same time. Yeah, I'm gonna show the painting.
It's all good. I'm gonna get on a session right now.
Selling. Oh Jesus! At $500. Is it $500? I think so. Yeah. This is a very big painting. Oh, jeez. It actually looks really nice on camera. I think this is 50 by 60 inches. I have this one at the moment up on my bed. You can kind of see the beings already, actually. Especially this one. Okay. It's pretty big. It's a dirt pool painting, so it was done on my floor. You basically mix specific paints with specific mediums to get them all at the same density, and then you layer it up in a glass, and then you pour it in a very specific way. Then you move the whole thing around to get a pattern that you like. Okay? There are quite a lot of colors in here. Very nice painting. If you want it, let me know. At the moment, I got someone wanting to buy it off me for 500. I would like to sell it for 15. I could have started the bidding at 15, but I think I'll do that with the next painting. Let's look a view from orbit. I know, right? Can't hear me? Oops, sorry. Should I say all that again? It's it's 50 by 60 centimeters. No, 50 by. I can't think anymore. I've been speaking for an hour and 27 minutes. Let me just bring up the post, because I did post it on my social media. I'll just read it out to you. It's got the specifics and everything. Let's put all the energy back into my mouth so I can speak. Super intention. Go. And I'm back. Had to divert the power from my brain to my mouth. There you are. So, okay. It is centimeters. It's wait, is it really centimeters? Yeah. It's 60 by 80 centimeters. It's a dirt pole canvas piece. It's large. And it's tripping. If you want to see the post on that, it's on my Facebook profile. If you want it, you can private message me, or you can just post underneath how much you're willing to pay for it, or you can just tell me here. What else we got? Sick, says Barely Millennial. I love that name. Wait, I know who that is. Ulysses. Ryan, can you give me your thoughts on sex? I don't know how much I can talk about that. Like, I have a lot of thoughts on it, but like, how much should I talk about on social media? That would completely change the energy on my channel and probably how people see me. Sounds like a good idea. Jackie Ryan says, this isn't a low ball offer. It's just because I appreciate you and your time with us. Thanks, Jackie. Never crossed my mind. Why are there beings in your painting? Very good question. Okay, so when I was on LSD, entities from the other side of the veil told me that when well, basically there is water in a lot of the matter in this world. And so because we're vibrating at a slow frequency, everything seems dense, but to them, everything's moving like a painting. And they're putting out a frequency on one side of the veil, and the water is able to literally alter and restructure to reflect their image. Okay, it's kind of like putting your face through a sheet of like a blanket or something like that. You're going to see your face on the other side. And so when you see images of aliens in wood grain, or you see a bunch of weird things on the ceiling, or in paintings, to us, we're vibrating so slow that it looks still, but to them, it's a constant moving image. Um, and they're actually waiting. They're waiting for people to take psychedelics because then they get to see us the way there's. No, then we get to see them the way they see us, because to them there is no delay. To them, we're moving at normal speed. Like they can change their perception of time and movement, but to us, it just looks like a still image. That is why there's paintings with beings in them. And I wanted to make a very big painting, like 6 foot, like a door frame with an entity in it, and then you put it in your room, and then you can communicate to it on a substance or off a substance. Hello from France. Hey. Hi, Thunder. Hi, Truder. Who's Truder? Tried to donate, got denied. Weird. What's up, LOL? What's up? Sex should always be an open discussion with no judgments, but it's slightly uncomfortable for some people. It should be an open discussion with no judgments, but unfortunately, we live in a world where people judge every little thing that you say and do. And that's why I get uncomfortable. And so I'd rather just talk about it to specific people, maybe in sessions or to friends, family if they ask. But otherwise, I'll keep it kind of quiet. Plus, was associated, uh, the last time I was associated with sex was when Vice did a piece on me with astral projection. And some people say there's no such thing as bad publicity. So I'm going to go with that. Could I see being sober in the painting? You can. Can you talk about how weed affects dream recall? Mm, I've never actually had dream issues with smoking weed. I don't think I do it enough to have issues with my mind. Oh my god, what is sex? Says Vault. I don't know what it is. My outlook on life is that everything is life and there's no such thing as death. Nothing. There's only there's no, everything is life. There is no death. I have no perception of death anymore. It's gone. Dante. Is weed bad for spirituality? It's not, but it is if you overdo it. If you abuse it, you're gonna damage your body. How do I feel about LSD? I love LSD. I really like the effect that it gives me, but I don't like the nausea. It's very good. Like with LSD, it's very submersive or immersive. Like last time I was on LSD, the veil broke and I saw the beings come through. It's like it literally tore and like the ceiling turned into like a painting where the paint just kind of went like this and this. It's kind of like if you drop something from high into water and the water goes like this, the veil just broke and things came through, grabbed my hand, and I went up through the ceiling and I was gone. I was no longer in that room. I was in space. It was pitch black. I was looking at a flower that was just opening up and closing and sleeping. I couldn't even sense anything. I couldn't sense anyone around me. I was really gone. Then I saw a bunch of dinosaurs. I basically, I was flying in space, but then I saw a pterodactyl that was flying underneath me, and I'm above, and then there's little pterodactyls around me, and then we approach an Earth which looked like a donut, which was stretched out as a tube, and the sun was a beam that went through the donut Earth. And so I'm coming into the donut Earth, looking at this beam, and I look down and I see a long necked dinosaur. Now, the long necked dinosaur was completely white, and he had mold growing on his whole back, kind of like how you'll see mold grow on a tree. It was yellow. It looked really nice, and he was fine with it, probably because he's so old. And I fly by this long necked dinosaur, and I come up to the volcano that's erupting. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm getting a sense for life. Like I'm feeling how the dinosaurs are feeling, how they're running, and how everything is just fine. Very circle of life ish type of vibes. It was really nice. Then I came back here. That's my LSD. That's part of my LSD experience. Oh no, not the donut Earth theory. Was it a theory? It's probably because so many people take psychedelics. But that's not to say that the Earth is a giant donut with a beam running through it, because I've astral projected and I've seen the Earth, and it's definitely round. I just think in altered states you enter into another dimension where it's not round, because you're seeing another side of it. It's weird. It's strange. It's kind of like those puzzle boxes which look square, but then you move it from a certain angle and then it's not, or you apply pressure and it flips into like a triangle or something. Matter has that effect. It wouldn't surprise me if the planet does too. Does the Retalians exist? They do exist. Could you talk about the dragons and bases on the moon? You mentioned bases on the moon. Makes me sad. LOL. I talked about it in my moon experience, right? The bases on the moon. I don't think there's much more I can talk about. Because the bases on the moon. Dragons, however. Holy crap. Dragons are very interesting. I'm gonna write that down. I might make it into something. I think it's too good of a topic just to mention on a live stream. So then I'll probably end up talking about it in a live stream. But who knows? All right, we got to go because I'm getting like tired. Just run through these real quick. Are there any more like super? They call these. My mouth is just off. Are there any more donations with any questions? Did I miss any? Are dreams reality? Watch my last video. I mentioned what dreams are. I do that every now and then. I put like little secrets in what otherwise seem like mundane videos because I often go off topic. So in the last one, I actually talk about what dreams are. Good night, Ryan. Good night. Catch you later. Catch you later. We love you and you're beautiful. Thanks. Peace and strength. Wakanda forever. Ow. Seth Speaks? Who's that? The YouTuber? Dragons, please. Thanks for hanging out. You're welcome. A pleasure. It's fun. This was Ryan James Crapper. Ryan James. Should I go for 2 hours? I don't think I've ever had a 2 hour live stream before. Well, was that? That'd be like an extra 20 minutes. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'll do an extra minute so that I do 1 hour 40. Later, dude. Later. Look up Project Camelot for more on Dragons on the Moon. Dragons on the Moon? I haven't heard of it in Camelot before. You know what I love? You guys research this for me and tell me what you find because it's hard to get information on this. Time locks and Tesla. Okay. Tesla discovered that if you change how the body experiences time, it will reverse back to a younger age, reversing your age. Now, he referred to it as time locks, and they discovered it by accident during the Philadelphia project when they teleported an entire ship from one location to another. And then they realized that a lot of them a lot of the crew members were having trouble materializing because their bodies couldn't recognize what point of time and space they were in. And so you see this also in the TV series, what's it called? The Umbrella Project, when he goes back in time. He was really old, but then he goes back in time and he just ages completely backwards to his younger self because his body or his atoms recognized the point of time to be different from the time and space that he was existing in prior, going backwards in time. And so I can only find a tiny bit of information on time locks. What can you get? What can you get? You are a legend. Thanks. Thanks. Thanks, Thundermark. He has a girlfriend. Yep. Very much do. Huh. Okay. See ya.